Stop
Fine.
it. Stop
Fine.
it. Stop it. Stop
My
it.
turn.
Stop
My
it.
turn.
Ah!
Got it. Well, hello and welcome to this first episode of Mike Takes the Mic. I hope you enjoyed our little intro there. We had fun making it. So here we like to field questions from those of you in the interwebs, those of you looking at us across the World Wide Web. And so I'm here to lend a voice to you all out there and ask Headmaster Chris Dyer some questions about his martial arts journey. So to start with, Anna asks, what inspired your love and passion for mixed martial arts? And over to you.
It's a great question. First part that I really find interesting about that question is the mixed martial arts part. A lot of people know that I have studied a variety of different martial arts. I consider myself a mixed martial artist. However, a lot of people have this vision of what mixed martial arts is, a connotation that comes with the phrase of usually very brutal people in a cage trying to beat the loving snot out of each other for money or whatever. And that is not something that I'm into. I actually don't watch much TV and certainly don't watch a whole lot of MMA fights. I got nothing necessarily against it. I don't watch enough of it to make a decision one way or another, but it's not something that I really get into. I am much more passionate about the study of the physical arts. So I was a personal trainer for 8 years, also teaching martial arts at the same time. I think that the martial arts can do wonders for building people's confidence for philosophical reasons. I think that it gives people something to strive for, a lot of confidence building. I know it was a huge one for me. When I started martial arts, I know a lot of people are always surprised by this, but I was 215-ish pounds, going on a higher end of that, about 40% body fat, and I had zero discipline, focus, any of the things necessary to actually become healthy and athletic. And so martial arts was actually a huge builder for that discipline, that focus, and that self-confidence to do this.
So you mentioned mixed martial arts and being a mixed martial artist. I too enjoy kind of the variety of martial arts out there. My biggest interest is kind of how the various martial arts interpret martial motion and movement. Can you speak to that a little bit? I feel like kind of we have the same interest in that.
Yeah. So different arts will emphasize different things. So we know that the gentle arts, the throwing arts, judo, jiu-jitsu, in its various forms, Tai Chi to a large extent, focus on throwing, so manipulating someone's structure to a throwing act or a downing act or a control. Then there's the striking arts, so karate, Muay Thai, things like that, where we're using impact to disrupt a person. And so different arts will focus on different things, but if you notice some of the movements in one art might carry over to another movement in a different art. So we were working the other day on a strike with a simultaneous punch and kick, so a strike high and kick low. And we were teaching it as that combination. So I'm blocking a kick with my leg, I'm punching high. But then we were on our Wednesday night throwing class, we looked, this is a push. I'm offsetting a person's balance. This is a pull. I'm doing this action that I'm doing in my push-pull, but then I'm doing down below. So I'm actually using the leg, which was a kick block, as a throw for a leg sweep. So the movements carry over. There's only so many different ways that the human body moves. It's just what art you train in will educate you or emphasize certain movements and certain principles of self-defense over another art.
Interesting. So our second question comes from Katie, and it's a great question. What are some key benefits of studying martial arts? Now, you already touched on a few of them, which is great. If you just want to kind of pinpoint which ones you think are most applicable for the everyday person.
Yeah, so the everyday person is the important thing. I used to be big into sparring. When I first started doing martial arts, I wanted to get in shape, and sparring was the thing that I was huffing and puffing and sweating at the end. Eventually I got into forms, and I found how relaxing forms can be, that you're getting intense cardio, you're moving around, your mind is focused, and then, there are those days where it's just gorgeous outside, you go to a park and you practice your forms, and it's just completely relaxing and overwhelming sense of joy that you can get from doing forms. I think the biggest benefit, right? So we know that in today's society, you're more likely to die of a heart attack than a mugger on the street. It's just the simple fact that we live in an unprecedented time of peace in the world. And self-defense, as important as it is to feel confident where you're walking around, and there are dangerous parts of, even here in Northern Virginia, there's dangerous streets that you don't want to go down, and having self-defense is extremely important. Having that confidence to go somewhere. But in reality, you need to be doing things to work out. We all do, because we're all getting older and we're all forced to live in a society where we get really bad food choices a lot of times, and doing something to help stay in shape is one of the best things that you can possibly do. And martial arts, in my opinion, is one of the best ways to do it. I do swim runs and I weight lift and all this other stuff, but I do that as a complement to martial arts, because for me martial arts is by hands down just the best physical training that you can do.
So I find mentally it's great to do martial arts because it forces you to develop a skill that is kind of removed from other things that you're doing in life. And so it forces you to step away from some of the problems that you may have had, some of the issues, or maybe just, kind of some of the frustrations. And I find kind of, time-based repetition. So you have a frustration at work and you come work out in martial arts, you're away from that frustration, and it gives you time to kind of reflect on that at times, or just step away and then come back to it with a fresh mind. Thoughts?
Yeah. So one of the rules that I have is, or I discuss whenever I have a new student come in, is when you stop at the entryway to our studio, and for people that have been here, we have a gateway that you stop. You always bow in as you enter into our studio space. And I always teach people that you are leaving the outside world out there. When you enter into this space, it's a special place that we try and forget all that other stuff so that we can focus on our training. And that really came about. I was getting ready to teach a group class. This was years ago in another studio, and I had gotten a personal phone call, and it was terrible news. And I was just wrecked. And I put the phone down, and I was like, all right, I gotta go teach class. How in the world am I going to do this? And so I just went out there and it was like, do the best you can. And by the time, class was halfway through, I had, the problem was still going to be there, but I had some distance between getting the terrible news and, whatever I was able to do afterwards. And, I went and handled the situation as best I could after the fact, but I got through class, and it was a huge eye-opener that, just having something to separate yourself from the immediate effects or whatever else is going on, some sort of separation. And we also know that scientifically speaking, doing physical activity helps our minds, helps our bodies be able to adjust to stress, that our minds can't really tell the difference between physical and mental stress, that we train ourselves to deal with one, we're training ourselves to deal with the other. So it's a huge tool for your toolbox for your mental health too.
So resilience, good to know. Do you have any other words of wisdom for us today, or we can wrap it up? Again, thank you so much for all your knowledge that you've shared with us today. Appreciate it. Any closing thoughts?
Yeah, keep sending questions. I love this idea of being able to do question and answer, because I think that I've been doing this for a while, and I think about martial arts every single day for a very long time. And I want to share it with you guys. So if you got questions, send them in. I'm happy to answer them. I think it's great. Tossing mic around is a lot of fun, but I think that there's a lot of really useful information that I'd love to get out there. So like, subscribe, share, so that we can get questions from people all over the world. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.